that is a great picture, Randy. Oh my gosh.
Oh
So hopefully no one got that surprise this year that their 40-year-old wife is pregnant.
Wow.
Well, it's sticking like the pregnancy test, like it looks like in the dude's mouth. It's really
Yeah.
bizarre.
All right. Well, this category is about the game that we had the most dread going into, and yet the return was a lot better than we thought it could possibly have been. So, what was the biggest surprise? You thought this game was rubbish, but this one actually was a lot of like you really enjoyed it. And we have our first crossover. And I think John might have known this if he would have looked back into his mind here. So my surprise game of the year was Crossing Oceans. I
Wow. We
played that
do.
game with
Wow.
John, and I'm telling you, John brought this game. And guys, everybody's been in that scenario where you want to try to weasel out of a game, where you just see something and you're just like, oh gosh, how do I politely leave? How do I tell this person no? And John was so excited about this game, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I guess, and I tried. Yeah, I had to play it. And this game was fantastic. It was really good. And it sounds like the designer was Matt Gertz, which is the designer of Concordia. He's known for his rondels. So maybe this game was a rondel. Maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much.
It literally
No,
was.
it's not. There was a rondel.
Yeah, everybody has their own personal rondel. Yes.
That's right.
Yep.
See, I'd finally get it right eventually.
Yes, this one is a rondel.
But yeah, Crossing Ocean. Yeah, Crossing Ocean. This cover looks like it came out 20 years ago, guys. But this was a 2022 release, and the ships, like John said, like the passion for the ships came through, and it's like it did. But that's also like super nerdy. Like nobody really wants that. I mean, I know we're in a nerdy hobby and we all do that, but it's like usually when things get that in depth, it's a little too nuanced for you to really appreciate it. It's kind of like when I show these guys the newest Marvel game, and I'm like, but look at strong guys in this game. Isn't that awesome? And they're like, I don't know. So, and that's usually a sign that this game's not going to be great. Just the people who like that stuff will like it. And I thought that's what Crossing Oceans would be, but it was really good. And I would explain it, but it's been a while. And I think John already kind of explained it a little bit, but check it out. Crossing Oceans should not be scoffed at.
Funny, just to kind of add to that, where you're talking about how they were into the design of it. Chris and I were cracking up because, it's not a simple game, but still, it's like a 2-page rule book front and back, and that's with examples and everything. But the fluff is a catalog. You got a catalog that goes through every ship in the game, talks about where it was made, what it did, and what happened to it at the end. Did it sink? Did it get scrapped? Whatever. Oh my, it's amazing. We were cracking up like, here's the fluff. Here's the rule book. So that was pretty funny. But to go on to mine, that is not my surprise for the year because I knew it would be good. But we've got I've got two of them here that I had very low expectations for, and it was pretty commonly known on this show. And the honorable mention, the runner-up, is going to be Scythe, because I hadn't played Scythe ever, and it's been around forever. Well, not forever, but a while. But for some reason, something about it, I was just like, that just doesn't sound like the game for me. But I played it and I really enjoyed it. I love how it's a Euro disguised as an area control game. And really, it's more Euro. It's way more Euro than area control. The area control is kind of a side quest in that game, but it's very good. I like Scythe after all. But the number one has to be the notorious Great Western Trail that I trashed at least 3 or 4 times on this show before playing it again and then saying, I like this game. And Daniel hated it. We were playing this game in preparation for the show. And Daniel looks at me halfway through the game. He's like, you're enjoying this game, aren't you? I'm like, yes, Daniel, I'm afraid I am. I'm not going to be able to trash this on the show. That was the whole plan. I was going to be the one trashing the game on the show. And I couldn't do it. I can't. This show has too much integrity to you, the viewer, for me to just trash a game that I enjoy. And I really enjoyed it. And I would play it again. So Great Western Trail by far is my biggest surprise of the year.
Well, I'm glad it was a surprise to you because we got to do another dress up episode on that. And if we had known that you liked it, because those of you who are watching this for the first time or haven't watched it very often around the board, we try to pick games that we are purposely divided on so that you get both takes. So with the Great Western Trail, we thought, okay, we have a hater in John, so that will be really good. He can really come at it, and the rest of us really enjoyed the game. I think Chris was like on the fence, but me and Andy really enjoyed it. So, but then yeah, you came in with you liking it. I was like, what's up with that? You ruined everything.
I know. I'm sorry.
But we got to dress up in really cool outfits, so
we did. It was worth it.
Cool outfits.
Yeah, it wasn't a super surprise to me, but like because I within the last year I also made a play I've talked about on the show as well. I made another play of it, and I finally saw the matrix of the game. I was like, okay, now I understand why all these people I respect really enjoy this game. But it was within this year, because so yeah, that I had that, because up until then I was just like, it's fine, but I just didn't see it. But yeah, this year I got that play, and I'm like, hey, this is great now.
So Chris, what was your surprising game?
So mine, I'm so happy. I was so worried this was going to be taken by the time it gets to me. And mine, there can't be a game that's more surprising to me that I end up loving than Envelopes of Cash. Like, like it's not just shtick for the show. Like seriously, like again, like as if you've been watching the show, we started with a board game, believe it or not, John talking about games that are real or not, and he's like, "Hey, it's this game called Envelopes of Cash," and immediately I was like, false, not a real game. Like no one names their game Envelopes of Cash. And then he was like, oh, it's about, paying players to come to different universities in college football. And I'm like, okay, that's really funny. Good joke, John, but that's not real. And then it ended up being real. And I was like, what? And then randomly, like, again, unless this guy, like in our play group, unless he's like ninja level troll, like he just hits us up like a few days later. He's like, hey, at our coming board game night, I got a couple Kickstarters in. I got so-and-so in board Envelopes Cash when he wants to play. And we're all like, what? There's no way you actually got this game. And so sure enough, he had it. And then he puts it on the table and he's like, yeah, so the main mechanic's from Macau. And I'm like, from Macau? I love Macau. Like, what? And so, yeah, like it just every step of the way, this game just more and more, I couldn't believe it. And then, yeah, we got to the play and it's really enjoyable. Now, granted, if it had some other mechanic than Macau mechanic, then maybe I wouldn't like it as much, but it did. Like it uses a mechanic that I love from Macau. I love the decision making of, do I want one blue buck right now or 6 red bucks 6 turns from now? I love that decision making. And then the theme was implemented well and stuff like that. But yeah, like on pure like surprise, without question, maybe the biggest surprise in board game history for me altogether, because I didn't think the game was real, to I really enjoyed it and can't wait to play it again. So
very good. Yeah,
that was nice. You know what was extra trolly about that is Dan Abel never actually posts on Facebook either. So the fact that he even posted it was like mind-blowing. It's like, this is like the universe was like conspiring against us to make this happen.
Yeah, it was wild. So
yeah, good point. He's never on there.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
What about you,
Andy? What was your
surprise?
Well, so, one of the funny things about our show sometimes is that we're not always on the same page. Actually, maybe I'm just not on the same page. That may just be
correct.
But for instance, I thought I didn't quite understand, I guess, how this was defined, this segment. So I'm a little bit off. I didn't go. So what I will say, one thing is I thought if we were awarding points, I don't think John deserved any, because I thought they had to do with games that came out fairly recently in this case. And you're talking about old games.
Nope.
Regardless. I have 3 games that came out recently that I didn't go into dreading, like you said, Daniel, but they pleasantly surprised me. I didn't have any expectations for them. Kind of looking at them, I went, I don't know. So 2 of them were at Gen Con. One was Forest Shuffle. Forest Shuffle, which for me does everything that Earth tries to do, or Arc Nova, but it does it in about 30 to 45 minutes, and I don't hate myself and want to stab myself in the eye with forks. So I liked it, and it still gave me that earthy, wonderful,
tree-hugging,
kumbaya, tree-huggy feeling. And it was made with no plastic. So there's that. That was a fun one. Also, General Orders World War II. Again, I wouldn't have gone into trying to seek this game out. I'm not a big war gamer or anything, but this gave, I guess, the sense of a war game in a very short amount of time with worker placement. So it had that Euro mechanics and war game, and it's a 2-player game. It's definitely in my top 10 2-player games, so that was up there. But the one that really did it for me, and I know, see, this is where I thought I was going to be disqualified on technicality, but since John threw out Great Western Trail, I now know that I'm just fine, and that would be Wonderland's War, Chris's favorite game. Oh my goodness. When this was such a surprise, such a pleasant surprise. It was technically introduced to me at the end of 2022, and when I saw it, my buddy Tyler showed it to me, and I thought, wow, that's a big box. Oh, there's a lot of pieces there. Oh my goodness, I don't know what Alice in Wonderland. What kind of theme is that? Oh my gosh, though. I played it probably 6 or 7 times since then. It is surprisingly good. Oh, it's heavy interaction. It has battling, area control, leans heavy into a theme. Sounds like more like Ameritrash, which, again, if you know me and my tastes, that's not me. I'm more the Euro fan with little theme and more abstraction and notoriously bad looking. But this game was so much fun. I loved it. I love the bag building element. I love the decisions about where to battle, the player power variability. It all just works for me. It looks gorgeous on the table. And even the theme, Alice in Wonderland, you wouldn't think that would draw anybody in, but it really did. It worked so well. It was just a pure pleasure to play. My surprise game of the year.
I'm glad that was
back,
it.
Andy.
I really...
Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Chris. Good to be
I'm
back.
so glad to have the Stephen A. Smith of Board Games back on the show, just throwing lies to make hot takes.
No hot takes here, baby.
There's no way you feel that way. It's impossible.
I really do. I like the game.
Is so bad.
I love it. I like it a lot.
Well, Chris, it's better than what I thought he was going to pick. I really thought Andy was going to pick Challengers. You had the same kind of arc there.
That's true.
It's fair.
Funny thing
went
about
into it thinking it was going to be garbage. It was an 8-player in a small room, and we were all cramped, and we were like, "What is going on?" And by the end of it, you were in the finals, and you were hooting and hollering with the rest of us.
Hooting and
That's
hollering.
right. It's true.
Hooting and a hollering.
A couple things there. Number one, I didn't know that you had any apprehensions about Wonderland's War in the beginning, so that's why I was a little shocked when it was on your list. But yeah, now I understand. But number two, just one thing I've always wanted to comment about General Orders World War II is I don't get the World War II part. It's a very generic battle game. There is no references to World War II at all, other than on the box cover where it says World War II underneath the title. That's the part that's a little bit.
You've got two maps. You've got two maps, one for the European theater and one for the Pacific theater.
They're just generic theater. It's not like an actual map. It's just something that they made. It's a map.
Up. One has mountains and is more European.
Thank
and one
you.
Has more
but
island.
I mean, it's not an actual spot in the world. You know what I mean? That was actually in World War II.
John, you and your themes, they have to be just perfect for you, don't they? Just perfect.
Yes, they do. Oh, well.
All right, guys. Well, that was Yeah. So that was our surprises this year. What were your surprises? Which game did you walk in with dread or just dismissal and actually turned out being maybe one of your favorite games of the year? Let us know in the comments below.
Thank you for watching this clip from Around the Board. If you'd like to watch the full episode, please click on the link down below. Around the Board is essentially a game show featuring 4 board game enthusiasts that discuss board game topics and news in a competitive format. Whoever wins gets to talk about whatever he wants at the end of the show. So please join us, won't you, Around the Board?